Florida and Tennessee are meeting for the SEC Tournament Championship on Sunday afternoon. Potential one seed in the mix, potentially if the committee cares about who wins this game, which I know SEC fans and John Calipari really debate if the committee does or not. But there's a good chance that the winner of this game is the last one seed. They've played once before this season, Riley. It was back in January. Sorry, first day of February, February 1st. Tennessee did not have Kai Ziegler. Tennessee did not have Igor Milicic. Tennessee won by 20. It's the worst loss of Florida's season. Florida had just under zero point 0.7 points per possession, shot below 15% from three, was dreadful. Tennessee's offense was not much better, but their defense won the day. I'm expecting a different type of game.
Oh
This
yeah.
one. We'll see if I don't know if the result will be different, but I think it'd be a different type of game, and I'll be shocked if it's a blowout.
Yeah, even that game at the time was so weird because it went against everything we had seen from Florida at that point.
Yeah.
And just to some extent it felt like kind of like Florida was due. They'd been playing too well and like maybe they just needed to be humbled a little bit or whatever. But it felt like Tennessee was really physical that game and kind of snuffed out some of the actions that Florida was running to run even down like they're probably their two best defenders. You could say
Yeah.
off par is maybe a tick above Milicic, but yeah, I mean,
Meshack. Meshack's
oh,
another.
true, true.
But
There's
yeah.
the point is there's a lot of good defenders on this team. And
Yes.
it does make sense like in a vacuum when you consider everything that's made Tennessee like
Yeah.
over the past 5 years of the Rick Barnes era that they're able to pull off a game like this. However, it did happen in the confines of Thompson Bowling Arena, presented by
Yeah.
Food City. Got to make sure you got that get that corporate sponsorship in there. And yeah, since then, this Florida team, I mean, they've just been on a different level. I think Subi likes to talk about this a lot. Like their second gear is better than anyone's in the country. We saw it firsthand in the Alabama game. As soon as the second half started, they flipped the switch and the game was over. Since then, Ralph, uh, Florida's won 11 games. Average margin of victory in those 11 wins, 15 and a half points
Yeah.
in the best conference in America. I think it was kind of the wake up call they needed. And yeah, I'm still going to lean with Florida winning this game, even if they don't, because I think Tennessee seems to have some new life as well. It probably comes down to one possession, 1 to 2 possession game. If Florida wins this game, if Florida goes straight up like 15, 20 pieces Tennessee, like yeah, just pencil them in to win it all.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll happen because I think Tennessee is too good defensively for that to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
But like you look at what Florida's done this year, and that's the game that is the complete anomaly.
Hmm.
Their first loss was to Kentucky at Rupp, where they lost 106 to 100. They just Kentucky made a lot of threes. Florida still scored 100. And then there's Missouri and Georgia, which you talked about. They just started slow, didn't come ready to
Hmm.
play. And then you got worked by 20 by Tennessee. Something doesn't belong.
I think that's the one, Ralph.
I think that's the one. I would expect a much better effort from them. And you mentioned Tennessee kind of getting back in the swing of things. Um, they've only lost twice since counterflip February, and they were at Kentucky and at Ole Miss, two road games. But in the SEC tournament in particular, they shut down Texas and Trey Johnson,
Hmm.
limited Auburn. Johni Broome had his numbers, but nobody else really did. They're back to looking like a team that can make the second weekend and make the Elite Eight again and compete for the Final Four in the right region.
And it is like some of it defies logic because it's not really sometimes it feels like, oh, the offense is all Lanier or it's all Ziegler. But it does sort of feel like everybody understands their role. Like
Yeah.
Milicic, I think all year, even though he hasn't probably shot quite up to the standards that Tennessee fans expected, could still make a pick and pop three. And I think he battles so hard on the glass. Like he closes possessions out on defense. He extends them on offense. And he's got a great feel. Like it's such a benefit to have a big that can make reads, that you can play out of dribble handoffs, that can grab an offensive rebound and find the open shooter. And it just seems like this Tennessee team makes really timely plays to go along with this stifling defense. And I mean, it's only a 2 game sample size. Zakai Ziegler's averaging 9.5 points, 5 assists in the SEC tournament so far. It seems like in the postseason, he's taken his game up another level. And yeah, even looking at their season, he scored just 8 points against Ole Miss. That's looking at the anomaly when you look at like every game he's had since he sat out of that Florida game where they won by 20.
15 assists in that Ole Miss game. It's pretty good.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, I just was
But
looking.
they need him to be more of a scorer. When
Hmm.
when he scores like this, there's not as much dependence on Chaz Lanier.
For sure.
And Lanier is, can certainly live up to a high level of play. But I think we've seen he's not going to necessarily give you 20 every night. He's not going to create for himself.
Right.
If Ziegler keeps playing like perhaps the best player in the SEC, not named Janai Broom, I think that's the only way Tennessee has a chance in this game. Ken Palm gives Tennessee a chance. A close game, but has Florida winning this one 73-70. Who do you think wins?
I think Florida wins, and that comes down to them actually having the best player in the SEC, not named Janai Broom. That's Walter Clayton. And I trust Clayton so much in big games. I hit it. I touched on that at the top. I think I find myself having big man envy after watching this UNC team for a full season, and I see four guys on Florida who would all make a pretty big impact on my Tar Heels. That like I always focus on them, and like yeah, I love watching Alex Condon play basketball. But this team is Walter Clayton's, and I think he's got them here. It just seems like they're clicking, like they are peaking at the right time. They're gelling, like they make basketball look effortless. And I think it'll be close because that Tennessee defense will show up to play. And I honestly expect both Zakai Ziegler and Lanier to be on their A game again. Like this should be, dare I say, the game of the week. You get what I'm trying to say. It'll be the best game of conference tournament week.
I think it could be up there. And the SEC has provided some bangers. A lot of
Hmm.
lot of close games, a lot of longer games with a lot of fouls. There's been a lot of talk about the officials at the SEC tournament. I think Florida wins. I think Florida wins probably by 10 to 12. I think it ends up getting to that point.
Wow.
Pace is going to determine a lot of this because
Hmm.
Florida wants to play fast. Tennessee wants to slow it down a little bit. I've said this about every team Florida has played, and I feel like every Florida preview that we've done for the last like month. When I say that, it's more about how good I think Florida is than how like anything to do with Tennessee. I think the Tennessee team is really, really good. It would not shock me if this group ends up being Rick Barnes' first Final Four team. Or sorry, Tennessee's first Final Four
Second.
team.
Second.
Rick Barnes' first one since 2003. Tennessee's first ever Final Four team. Would not shock me. I still think Florida wins that game by double digits.
Hmm.
It's everything about Florida.
I have no pushback.
Be fun to watch. We'll see. We'll have a full recap after that game here on the channel, along with all the NCAA tournament stuff that comes up. All right, Selection Sunday. It's a fun time of year. So make sure you like and subscribe.